I was born in Queens, New York, 1986, August. Like one of my first memories, if I think back, was when my mom and dad were fighting in a parking lot, and my dad was bleeding, and there's police lights and stuff everywhere, and she, ended up going to jail, going to Rikers Island, and after that they got divorced. So like, they were split up real early in my life, and they both were alcoholics. My mom, she basically, started getting a little bit too far into the drugs and alcohol. And I was with her when I was a little kid. She moved in with me and my grandma after she got kicked out of her apartment in New York. So we moved down to New Jersey with my grandma. She got in a fight with my grandma, and my grandma called the police on her. And so the police came by, ripped her out. She was screaming and, oh, don't take me away from my baby. And so I was like, kind of, it was a traumatic experience for a 6-year-old. So I kind of freaked out, and I was scared, and so like they took her away. I didn't see her again for a while, and I was just me and my grandma in there. And I guess I was a little depressed, a little withdrawn, and my grandma, she called some people, and one night, like I remember, a few weeks after my mom left, these people came in my room with like white uniforms and latex gloves, and they just like ripped me out of my bed and stuff, and threw me in this van. And my grandma's like, I'm so sorry, Kurt, they're gonna help you. And I'm screaming and crying and fighting. I don't understand what's going on. It's like my grandma just gave me up to some people, and so like they took me to this crazy house. I always remember that place, man, because it was like I could hear kids up night all screaming all night long, just like crying and always trying to kill themselves and all kinds of stuff. And I was there for about a year, and then after that, they put me in another group home, and I was and I basically was in a group home, and from there I went to foster homes in New Jersey. And then after that, I did that for a few years. And when I was 10, I moved back in with my dad, and I was getting in trouble a lot. And so my dad basically just was like, you get in trouble, blah blah blah. So I moved out to Oregon to visit my mom. Met my stepdad and my mom when I was, just like about 12th birthday. I ended up living out there. And they were also heavy alcoholics, and I got in fights with them all the time. And my stepdad threw a plate at me once, gave me like 9 stitches on my forehead, and I ended up getting sent back into foster care out in Oregon. So I just been in Oregon, in foster care, and after that I ran away from foster homes, and dropped out of school at 16. And then from there I went to I just was in the streets for a while. Then I went to the Job Corps, and I did Job Corps for like 6-7 months, something like that. After Job Corps, I went into the Army, and that was like a really life-changing experience for me. It was different from anything I ever been through before. Other than that, it was like once I got out of basic, then I got to do jump school. Now that was really interesting because I was always been kind of scared of heights, and signing up to be a paratrooper, it's pretty like, wow, dude, you don't really realize it when you're 18, but it's like when you get up to that hatch in the C-130 and you're about to jump out, and I'm like looking out the hatch, and it's like a little toy neighborhood with plastic trees and stuff. You're like, wow, this is so surreal. And then all of a sudden the sergeant's like, yeah, get the fuck out, get out of here. And you have to like jump out, and it's like I felt like a cigarette butt getting flicked out of a car going down the highway, man. It just like ripped me out, and I'm just like twisting and flailing. That was like my first jump, and my God, it was so crazy. And like then all of a sudden it just all stopped, and your chute deploys, and you're just like hanging there, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I'm still alive. Okay, let's just try to remember what they taught me in jump school. And so I'm like, mine was all twisted up because I didn't keep my body position tight, and I had to like kick in the middle there. So here I am like kicking like 1,000 feet off the ground, and I'm like trying to get from the thing from twisting off my neck. So finally I get that, I check my risers and do all that stuff, and then we're just like floating down. And it's like one of the most peaceful, quiet moments I ever felt. Felt like a tree, like a leaf just falling from a tree in summer or something. It was like really gentle and quiet, and just falling down to the ground. But you're not really falling as slow as you think, because I hit the ground like 20-something miles an hour, and it's just like, bam, you just crumple to the ground, lay there for like 10 minutes, and you're like groaning like, ah. And then you got sergeants in the distance yelling like, get up, run off. But anyway, so that was like, that was a really big deal. And after that, I just was like, I can do anything. I wasn't afraid of nothing after that. And so I just kind of went haywire and was just out there, man, just getting wasted, doing, partying, just being a 21-year-old kid, man, just living life. And just thinking I was never going to get old. You know, I always felt like I was just going to be young forever. I don't want to be, you know, some dude talking about what I could have done 5 years ago, because I know people my age that got degrees, that got, you know, got their shit together, and they got, you know, things that I only wish I had. You know, this is a wake-up call, so to have this opportunity to just kind of like, you know, speak out on my story verbally, actually just put it out there. You know, it's not over yet, so I feel like I still got a chance.